Have you ever been watching a streamer stream and suddenly they sound like they've caught dementia and they start responding to chat messages that you don't see and no one else sees? Well, now you don't have to be subjected to that because your streamer can actually have a shared chat. Look, that's a message from my Kick, and then here's a message from my Twitch in the same chat window, the same browser source. Right. First things first, this is Ob Studio right here. In Streamlabs OBS, you should still have the concept of scenes and sources, right? Hopefully you should do. If you have a sources window, right-click on it, add source and browser there. If you've got the browser option, feel free to keep watching the rest of this video. If you don't have that option there, what the fuck? However, if you have Streamlabs OBS, that's some pretty intarded software, so that may not have it. So we're going to go through how to set this up. Now, how is this controlled? This is controlled through a program called lumiastream, which is right here, and I already have it installed, so I will that's the overlay window. We'll save that, exit without saving, yes. And then we have lumiastream up here. These are all the overlays they actually use, but this is the testing one that I've just made up for this. What can lumiastream do? It can connect to many things. In fact, if I open up the video overlay again, I can show you. This is the chat box, which is here. Open the settings for it. We can connect Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Kick to this, which is quite nice. And it will all show inside of this text box, inside of this overlay that we've created here. This is the dimensions of, if we zoom out, this is the size of the overlay itself, and then this is the size of the chat box within that overlay. So it doesn't go over all of it, but I kind of like it feeling sort of vertical, so I've gone with something like that. I'll go through that at the time. So that's there. Exit without saving, yes. So to make this stream software work, this lumiastream software that has lots and lots of different functionality, lots and lots of little sections with lots of different things, everything from like basic stuff like chat commands, loyalty, giveaways, to more in-depth things like light control. I've recently discovered you can do with it, so I've got some fancy lights that can now be controlled if you come and watch my stream at twitch.tv/the Bitcoin Baron. Soon, hopefully, we'll have that functionality on Kick as well. Oh, you can import from Stream Elements now. Direct. Oh, that's kind of nice. Okay, so where do you get the software from? I'll tell you. You go to lumiastream.com. That's lumiastream. I had a brain aneurysm in the middle of that. lumiastream.com, and you come to this website here. You can download the software for free. Now, you will need to... Excuse me. You will need to create a new an account on their website, which will have all your stuff on and everything there. The reason being is, though this is software which you download and run on your PC, all your settings and everything to do with it is also backed up to the cloud, and it will try to sync with their cloud servers each time that you open the software, which... some people might not be into, but I also think that it provides some level of redundancy, right? Because if my PC was to crash and all the settings and all the scripts and everything were on my PC and my PC was just dead, then I'd have to start my stream again. I'd have to start reinventing everything from my stream again. Whereas if it's on their cloud servers, presumably they have backups. And, well, presumably. But... they seem like a decent company. They're very responsive, and, you know, they have like a monetization model, which actually, although you might not want to pay for like the extra stuff that you can get if you do pay, because you can pay for some stuff. I am paying for it because it's only a small amount of money, and it gives me more TTS and stuff. But that's a story for another day. But if you just literally wanted to use it for doing a shared chat box, you can literally just go through the steps of setting this up today, and you shouldn't need to have it open while you're streaming, even. For some of the more, like, if you wanted to use it for chat commands and stuff, you'd then have to obviously have the software open. But just for a video overlay, this is going to be a browser source, so it's going to be a browser source inside of OBS, so it's not going to be looking at this program. If that makes sense, which probably doesn't. So what you'll need to do is you'll need to download the software. You'll need to create an account if you don't have one. it will then open up the software, and it will probably ask you to connect things, which I think is done in connections, right? So in the connection settings here, there'll be ways to connect to stuff. Now, I don't have TikTok on here, but for instance, you could add a new connection and it would be TikTok, and then this would allow Lumia to do all this. And then you can just either try to connect, or you can copy the authentication link and just manually do it that way. And it should bring up a thing. If you've done it for Kick, you'll probably be, I'll tell you what, can we do it for this? Next. Can I try and do this? Why is it going to Kick? Did I click? Oh, I did click on Kick. So it'll be something like this, where it's like, oh, do you want to give it permission to do all this? You can allow access to that. I don't need to do that. Actually, I do need to do that because it's apparently... Oh, well, that's nice, isn't it? That's great. Trying to reach lumiastream. Okay, well, I'll deal with that problem another time. But you get the gist. You'll have to connect your platforms such as Twitch and TikTok or Kick or whatever to the program. And then once you've done that, the rest of this is just, it's so easy, right? So you would go into overlays. Hold up 1 second. So we have this overlay here, which I've put here. Now, I'm going to tell you something about best practice right here. And having scenes named Scene, Scene 2, and Scene 3 is not the way to go. So this new one, we're going to call this scene Chat Overlay. And the great thing about this is, say, if you've got Scene 2 here, which would be, we'll rename it to Main, and that's your main scene. What you can do, at least in Ob Studios, you can add a scene. So we can add the Chat Overlay scene to this scene. Now, why would we want to do that? Well, it's not going to matter as much for this because we're just going to have a browser source. But say if you had multiple browser sources, like instead of a chat overlay, this was all your overlays, your alerts, any bits or anything else. You might have multiple browser sources in here. Rather than manually adding those browser sources to this scene, you could just have them in a scene here, which is not very much use if you just got a main scene and that's it. But if you also have a Be Right Back screen and an intro screen that you want those overlays and alerts to go off on, then just being able to paste in the scene that's already got them all set up wherever they are in the thing is going to be good. But that's a story for you for another time. Right, so we can't add a browser source yet. I've made up a new scene, so I'm going to delete this. No, I don't want to open it. I want to delete that because that was my testing one. And we're going to make a new one. Right, so once you've got lumiastream connected and set up, you go to Core section here. And feel free to minimize these sections. You can close them off to make things look a bit easier. Go to Core Overlays section, add new overlay, which is over here. Add a blank one. And I'm going to call this chat, but you can call it whatever you want to. Overlay resolution. I'm going to say set this to 720p. The overlay resolution does not have to be the same size as your stream resolution. It can be smaller. And so I'd say to keep it smaller so then you can scale it up and the text gets bigger. It'll make more sense once you start messing around with it. Anyway, we're going to add a new overlay. And then it brings you up to the overlay thing here. Now, it might be a good idea to press this button here, which is the fit to screen button. You see this rectangle here? This is the overlay size. All of this is empty space. We're just going to add one thing. Go to layers, add layer. Search for, at the top, chat. Click chat box. And then it will bring you up a section here where you can choose the style of your chat box. I'm going to go with boxy theme. All right, boxy theme is ridiculously vulgar in terms of space. So we're going to go with that. And if you have connected these platforms, Twitch and everything like here, you'll be able to do... Well, I mean, I haven't connected Facebook, but it's going to get messages from there anyway. I'm not sure how, because my Facebook's not connected, but that's fine. All right, so at the minute, it gives you a preview of what it's going to be like there. If you want to, if this is your thing, you can go for horizontal input. So instead of scrolling up, it scrolls sideways, like this. If I do this here, you'll start to see it. Although this is going to look a bit scuffed in this window because if there's a long message, it's going to flood the screen. But mostly you get an idea of how it's going there. So you can do that. There's lots of other settings in here that you can mess around with at your leisure. But really, we just want to click Save Settings. All right, no, click on the edge of this. I want to move it to the top corner of up here. Wait, did I save it with the vertical layout on? Okay, so I'm just resizing this to be about half of the thing. It doesn't really matter what it is. Let me just check something. I don't want it to be... It's not horizontal. Okay, cool. That's like that. So then, when you've overlay saved, right, it's saved the overlay. So once you've moved the chat box around a little bit, you can copy the URL, then go to your stream and add a source, which is a browser source, and call it chat overlay. You can call it whatever you want. Chat overlay. Oh, there we go. All right, and then we're going to paste in this top bit URL. It's going to be like that. Now width, I chose 720, so that's going to be 1280 by 720. You need to make sure that this is at least at least has a height that matches the overlay size that you put in the thing. Right, okay, so let's click OK on that, and then I'll show you. It'll show that up there, 1280 by 720. You can probably see it there. So it's now added that. Now I actually stream in 2K resolution, 1440p, so it's exactly 1/4 there. So if I was to go back to those windows from the beginning, and we was to go into Kick, I'm going to move this to the middle so you can see it, and paste some text in, which is like that. You'll see that that's in there like that, and it looks decidedly awful. It looks decidedly awful, but it works. And then if I was to go into Twitch and do the same there, it would look like that, but we can see that that's there. So this doesn't necessarily need to be the same size as you've seen. You can do it whichever way you want to, but now we could just go to the main here and add a scene, which is the chat overlay. And then you can see the problem that we have with that is that it's causing problems such as there's some text that's in the background, which is over the top of it. There might be a setting for that actually. If we was to look in styling, transparent text, no. What about background? Is it somewhere in back appearance? Scale with container. Rotation. Virtual light similar from community. All right, well, if this one doesn't grab you... Sorry, I've still got a bit of the old flu going off. You can try a different theme. Like this one would probably be better. It looks like it has filled in boxes like this. Or this one here looks a bit cooler. Ooh, what the hell is that? It writes out the messages using this one. All right. So it saved the changes that we've put in there. And now if I was to type a message... Oh yes, it shows it in there. It shows it in there, which is it's a bit more readable. Wait, it would be if I moved this up like this, for instance, it would be a bit more readable. But you can have a play around with that to your heart's content and make it work for you. And that, in its most basic form, is how to set up a shared chat overlay so that you don't ostracize the parts of your community when you're talking to people on other platforms, because they can then keep up with what's being said and what you're replying with. It's quite nice. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the video, like the video, send me $1 million and stuff like that, and I'll see you again in the future.